Hi there and welcome to Viditrainer interviews. It's Deon Terblanche. So did you know that there are about 18 million South Africans with credit accounts, and each of us has about 3 or 3.5 credit accounts, which takes it to about 64 million active credit accounts in South Africa alone. The biggest surprise is though that of those 64 million credit accounts, a full 45% of them are in arrears. It's obvious that South Africans have a little bit of a problem with managing our debt. And it's quite simple. You start out by paying something and then you fall behind, the months add on, and before you know it, you really are in trouble. It's happened to a lot of people. I have Gerrits from a company called Debt Education with us today, and she's going to tell us about the debt management process and also what you can do once you fall into arrears and how you could actually manage your whole debt process and the debt collection process. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy the interview. Hi there and welcome back. I've got Gerrits from Debt Education with us in the Viditrainer interview today. Karen, welcome to the interview.
Thank you, Deon.
It's great having you here. You and I have known each other for a while now, and it was quite interesting when you told me about your company, Debt Education. What is Debt Education, the company, and what do you guys do?
Okay, let me give you some background about myself. I have a degree in accounting, and I was an accountant for 15 years until I decided to start my own business as a business broker. The past couple of years during the recession times, I've met so many people struggling with debt and decided to start another business which I call Debt Education.
Okay.
My first priority is to advise people about the options available, to assist them, and most important, to teach them how to work with their money.
Okay.
As I realized, a lot of people do not even know the word budget.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the vision of Debt Education is just what the name says, to teach as many people as possible about the implications of too much debt.
Okay, so you're not teaching people to make debt, you're teaching people to handle debt.
Absolutely.
Okay, because I think most of us can make debt, very easily, all on our own.
Yeah, no, that's no problem.
Okay, so essentially what I hear you say is that you identified a need for people who don't know, obviously how to do basic financial management for themselves. As you said, doing a budget and things like that. And then also teaching them about the process of debt counseling, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. We want to teach them that there is options available that can legally assist you.
Okay. So before we get to the options, can you just give our viewers a quick, overview of what exactly debt counseling is?
Okay. Debt counseling is a process which the government implemented when they started with the National Credit Act.
Okay.
The government was concerned about the financial future of the population in the uncertain economic times. So they promulgated the National Credit Act, which you know much more about than me. But the portion to relating over-indebtedness and restructuring of debt came into effect on the 1st of June 2007.
Yeah.
The NCA regulates all credit agreements by striving to improve access to credit for consumers at a reasonable rate from a reputable credit provider. It aims to increase the availability of finance at reasonable cost to ensure that an increased access to credit does not lead to over-indebtedness.
Okay. So let me just stop you there. What I hear you say essentially is that the process of debt counseling started because, the South African government came out with the National Credit Act in 2007. And the purpose of the act really was to make sure or to help people take care of their financial futures, so that they don't get themselves into trouble with ill-advised, credit schemes or taking loans out that they cannot really afford, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. And to educate consumers about credit, to protect the consumers and deal with unacceptable practices and to enforce relevant regulations.
Okay. Okay. So if we talk about debt counseling, who would be the typical person that it's aimed at? Who's eligible to go into debt counseling then?
Okay. Debt counseling applies to natural persons and trusts with one or two trustees only. So not companies or CCs can apply for debt
Okay,
counseling.
so
It's
it's only
more
if you're an
for
individual you can go into debt counseling.
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. So in essence, debt counseling is for people who cannot pay all their creditors, or
Okay.
if they do pay the creditors, they're left with little or no money on the rest of the month.
Okay. Okay. So obviously many of our viewers are small business people or entrepreneurs. And what I hear you saying is that they themselves in their individual capacities can go into debt counseling if things are tight, really.
Yes,
But their
absolutely.
companies or their businesses, the business itself cannot go into debt
No,
counseling.
the business itself cannot, but you as the owner can for your personal capacity. And if you're a sole proprietor, I mean, that is,
Of
um,
course.
yeah.
Okay. So what would you say then? You're a business person. You see that things are getting a bit tight. Maybe your cash flow is a bit lower a month or two, and you cannot pay all your creditors. When do you think is the best time for these kind of people to go into debt counseling or to apply for it? When should they apply for it? At what stage? Should they wait
Okay.
until they are really in big trouble, or is there a better option maybe?
No, definitely not. You must take action as soon as you see that your current income is not enough to meet all your monthly expenses.
Okay.
As soon as you receive a summons, your creditor does not have to listen to the debt counselor. So um, you must do it early. There's quite a few warning signs of too much debt, so maybe I can
Yeah,
emphasize
yeah.
a few of them.
Please do.
Um, to know the warning signs of too much debt can stop you from getting to the danger point, which is normally when it's too late.
Mm.
So the main red flag is you spend increasing amounts of income to pay on debt. If your debt spending increases, you need to look at the total picture. You aren't sure of how much debt you actually have. If you don't know how much you owe, that's a big red flag that you're in too deep.
Yeah, yeah.
When you start making only minimum payments on your card, then you should know I have a problem.
Only
In
paying
the
the
best,
interest and not the principal debt then.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. In the best scenario, this could take up to 30 years to pay off a relatively small balance, costing you more interest in the long term.
Of course.
So the biggest mistake that over-indebted consumers can make is do nothing.
Mm.
They wait and hope to win the lotto or hope that the situation changes in the future, but don't leave your problem too late. Too long, then it might be too late.
Mm. Mm. No, I hear you. So what you're saying is when things start, going south in terms of your financial position, that's the best time to apply to go into debt counseling.
Absolutely. I think if to take a scenario, if you have 1 month where you notice that you can't pay everything you need to pay from your income, then the
That would be
flag
the
go
time.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you do it? Now, if you realize that you might need debt counseling, how would you go about it? How do you apply for it?
Okay, there's quite a few steps how the process works, but uh, you a consumer provides the debt counselor with his details, his income, monthly budget, debt commitments, all those documents.
Mm.
And then they have a prescribed form that they use.
Okay.
And then from there on, they do an initial assessment, check if you are over indebted. So it's quite a simple process to apply, but that's where I come in, because a lot of people don't like all the paperwork and don't like completing forms and don't always know how to do it and what to do it. So that's the basis, is to get in contact with the counselor and to give him all the information and to start the process.
I think you're right there. You know, obviously, this debt counseling does relate to your financial position, and the very nature of it would be that the debt counselor will have to ask you some, let's say, uncomfortable questions maybe for yourself. Obviously,
Absolutely.
you know, by the time most people get to the point where they can't really meet their obligations anymore, they are quite probably, I take it, they're quite sensitive about, you know, their financial position. And, you know, the debt counselor would have to treat it with sensitivity then also.
Yes, no, absolutely, and that is what I feel. You should get people to trust you, but the person applying for this counselling should also understand that if he doesn't provide you with the correct information, you're not going to be able to assist him in the right way. So I must be totally open and honest with you. Yeah.
Of course. So you should treat your debt counselor like you treat your priest.
Like that, yeah.
Okay. So the process of debt counseling, you know, what I hear you say is you go to a debt counselor, which is a professional person who provides these services, and they will obviously charge money for that. I take it to the person going into counseling. So what could you expect, you as the debtor? What could you expect the debt counseling to cost you?
Okay, I think that is what the nice thing is about the whole process that the government initiated, is that for you as a person that's already over-indebted, you don't have to put down a lot of money to get the process started.
Okay.
There is guidelines that has been, that's in the National Credit Act, so that nobody can charge you more than that.
Okay.
So to give you an idea, that you have to pay an application fee of 50 Rand plus VAT, which I think is really
that's reasonable.
Quite fair. Yeah. And then rejection fee of 300 Rand when your application is rejected.
Okay? Oh, so your application can also be rejected?
Yes, because in some instances, especially where you already have summonses against you, they're not going to, because they can't do anything if there's a summons against you.
Okay, and again, that brings us back to why you said you know when things start tightening for you financially, that's when you have to take action as soon as possible.
Absolutely, and then also be open and honest with a debt counselor, because if you know there's summonses against you, you must tell them that, because otherwise it will going to cost you money again. So.
Okay. So essentially, just to get back to the cost, Karen, you said that there are set fees and guidelines given by government on what debt counselors can actually charge you. So you can't, you know, you can't really be taken for a ride if you go to a reputable debt counselor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the rest of the fee structure is structuring fee less or equal to the first installment of the debt arrangement management plan with a maximum of 6,000 Rand. So, and these fees normally form part of the first installment. So your debt counselor will arrange with your creditors that you have X amount of money to be able to pay them on a monthly basis. And so all the creditors know that, and because it's in the act, so part of your first installment will then pay your debt counselor.
Okay.
If it's a joint application fee, the fee may increase to 6,000 Rand, but that's the maximum that can be charged. Okay, and then after, there's a monthly after care fee of 5% of the monthly installment of the plan, with a maximum of 400 Rand for a period of 24 months.
Okay.
And then thereafter, 3% of the maximum of 400 Rand for the remaining period, because the debt counselor is collecting your money, paying it over to the contribution agency who distributes the money to your creditors. So they have a monthly admin that they have to pay for. So that is what that is for.
Okay. Okay. Now, what I hear you say is there's a small initiation fee, and then there's a monthly fee, but that monthly fee really forms part of your debt installment in any event. So the money that you've got to pay to your creditors, a portion of that will also go towards the fee. Okay. Okay. I think that's simple enough. Now, you've dealt with quite a few people with this as a debt counselor. I'm sure it affects people's lives tremendously, eh? It must be a huge thing, when it happens. Is that true?
Definitely. When you are over indebted, you have many sleepless nights. And you worry so much about your money that sometimes you just can't think straight. So, first of all, the debt review process will protect the consumer from losing crucial assets and keep the credit providers from taking legal action on accounts that is lawfully included in the debt review. In the current economic situation, it is no shame to be over in debt. It can, however, be an embarrassment to yourself and your family if your assets are repossessed. But the debt counselling process can protect you from that embarrassment and will help you to sleep again at night without worrying about losing your assets.
Okay, so it's a good thing, it's that initial step before things really go bad, when you get summonses and when the sheriff comes around to take stuff away from your house and all that. Okay, so debt counselling is actually a more humane way almost, or a less embarrassing way of handling these type of situations.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So I just want to understand exactly how the debt counselling then gets your total debt position lower. Is that really just by way of the monthly payments then that are structured, and those payments will lower the debt that you have?
Let's explain it to you this way. If a consumer is found to be over-indebted, the debt counsellor will notify all creditors and negotiate with them in an effort to get the terms of each credit agreement lengthened and all the installment reduced. In many cases, the credit providers even agree to a reduced interest rate, which, if you're paying 25% on a credit card, they can negotiate 10%, which is a huge saving at the end of the day.
Fantastic.
So it will probably take you longer to pay it off, but your monthly debt obligations will then be consolidated into one monthly installment that will cover all obligations under the debt review.
Okay.
So it also makes it easier, so you don't have to pay 10 or 20 people. You just pay one amount and it gets distributed.
And the debt counselor is the person who will make these arrangements with the people that you owe money to, eh?
Absolutely. They are qualified to do that, and they have the skills to do the negotiations, which normally the man on the street will probably feel too embarrassed to go and ask. And will probably get the brick wall at the banks as well, So.
Okay. Now, something that I need to understand is, while you are in debt counseling, so you've gone through the process, you've paid the initiation fee, excuse me, and you are in debt or under debt counseling. Would you be able to still get other credit agreements or loan more money for it? Would you be able to get more loans from creditors, for instance? Would you be able to go to Edgar's and get a credit agreement from them? Or what happens to you, during the time that you are under debt counseling?
Okay, well, first of all, I think if you're in too much debt, you must not even think about getting more debt. But how it works, when you apply for debt review, you will be registered on the credit bureau as receiving debt counseling. So you will not be allowed to obtain further credit.
Okay.
And then as long as the client maintains his monthly repayments as negotiated, he's protected from all legal action and the normal consequences of non-payment.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can't. Nobody will give you more credit
So
because
essentially, sorry, Karen. Essentially, what you're saying, it does actually, to an extent, affect your credit worthiness. You know, in other words, the Edgars and Labners and whatever else, those guys won't lend you more money and they won't extend further credit to you while you are under debt counseling because they'll be able to see it.
Yes.
You know, when they do the credit check on you or
Yes.
something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's clear enough. So let's say that you are under debt counseling then, and you know you're paying your monthly amount and it's being distributed among your creditors, and you reach the end of your debt, you pay it off. What then happens?
Okay, as soon as the consumer settles all obligations in terms of the debt review, the debt counsellor issues a clearance certificate indicating that the consumer is now rehabilitated. Oh. So after that, you will be able to apply for credit again.
Okay, it's as simple as that. And if you know, I've heard a lot of stories of people trying to take advantage of other people, or you know, these type of loan sharks and debt counselors. I don't know. You know, are there any things that you would advise our listeners or viewers to be careful of when they go through this?
Absolutely. First of all debt counselors must be registered with the NCR. So make sure you're working with a registered debt counsellor. Like I explained earlier, the NCR published 3 guidelines that all debt counsellors must adhere to.
Okay.
So make sure that they don't overcharge you. And then make sure you receive a monthly distribution statement from your debt counsellor to ensure that payments are done to your creditors. And also ask your creditors for monthly statements to check that they received the payment.
Okay.
And then, after all, be careful not to fall in the debt trap once again.
Yeah.
Everything is settled.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Now, this is usually the time when I just say to our viewers that this is Viditrainer, and we would love you to subscribe. We get people with real practical tips in here, like Karen, you know, with real, as I said, real practical advice on things that you can do now for your business or for yourself. Karen, how can your business help our viewers? You know, what would you guys do for the viewers of Viditrainer watching this now? Okay.
Like I explained earlier, debt education was born when we realized how easy it is to fall into the debt trap and how difficult it is to admit you need help. The help is out there, but most of us are too proud to ask. The basis of my business is education for the consumers. So I assist them with the initial documentation and paperwork that needs to be completed and ensure they understand how the process works, which is normally the things that most people hate to do. But yeah, like I also said, you'll need to be brutally honest with us. Our assistance to you will be based on the information you supply to us. So if the information is incorrect, we will not be able to lead you to the right solution. Based on the information you supply, we assess your situation and direct you on the right path. I then send your information to professional debt counselors who will start the legal process. I do this all for free, as I receive a fee from the debt counselor once the consumer makes their first payment. So in a nutshell, I'm there to help.
Okay. And as you said, it wouldn't even cost them money. It's being paid by the debt counselor, which would, of course, be a fee. Okay. I will put up the link to your website down below this video. But maybe you can just quickly tell our viewers where they can reach you.
Okay, that's quite easy. They can visit our website on www.debteducation.co.za or send me an email to info@debteducation.co.za.
Oh, fantastic. Karen, thank you very much. I really do appreciate this, and I'm sure there are a few viewers that will also appreciate this. Of course, nobody wants to get into trouble, but it is a fact of life. Sometimes you do, and then you need a little help.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm there for. Help is at your fingertips, but you will need to take the first step.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to share this.
Fantastic. We'll speak again. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.